What up, everyone? My name's JD. Welcome to Mull to 5. Being a brand new channel, I feel like I got to start with a bit of a shameless self-plug. We're trying to get this thing off the ground, so every subscription really does help. Every like, comment, share, subscribe, all that stuff. Super helpful, and we definitely appreciate it. So let's see. Today, I am kind of taking a break from my usual tier 3 ultra jank and playing kind of a real deck. Not tier 1, but a solid tier 2, I would say. Today we're going to try Merfolk, which is kind of a pet deck of mine. It's a personal favorite. I feel like everyone knows Merfolk. It's been a deck forever. It's a legacy deck. It's a deck in Modern. I feel like most of you guys are probably pretty familiar with it, so I'm not going to go super in-depth on this deck tech. I will touch on kind of the direction it's been going lately. So there are a couple new cards that are pushing this deck towards more of a tempo controlling, playing at instant speed kind of thing. So the first is Merfolk Trickster. Came out not quite as recently, but Trickster has been an amazing addition. So it's a 2/2 flash, and when it enters the battlefield, you tap target creature an opponent controls. It loses all abilities until end of turn. This card has so many applications. I am never sad to see it. It's so good. Obviously, the obvious uses. You flash it in beginning of combat, tap down a blocker, swing past, tap it in at the beginning of your opponent's combat, or flash it in at the beginning of your opponent's combat to tap down one of their attackers so they can't attack. That's its basic uses. Can also do fun things like eating Tarmogoyfs. Because it loses all abilities, it just becomes an 0/1. So you flash this in, all of a sudden it's an 0/1, and Trickster just eats it. It can deal with flyers. They lose flying. That counts as an ability, so it can eat like Arclight Phoenix and things like that. All kinds of cool stuff. So Trickster's great, and because it has flash, we can hold it up and use it at instant speed. The more recent card that was released is Benthic Biomancer. It's a 1/1 for 1 with adapt, and when it adapts, you get to loot. So we do get some value out of looting. We can draw into stuff that we need and throw away like extra ether vials, extra lands. And then it becomes a 2/2, which is great. And the important thing is that adapt is used at instant speed. So we can do nothing on our turn, hold up mana for... and then at the end of turn, if we have nothing else worth doing, we can just adapt him. So it's just one more thing to do at instant speed. And because we're going in this direction, we want to be holding up Tricksters and adapts, etc. We're now playing 4 main deck counterspells, which I chose to use Deprive. I think it's probably the best option until we get actual counterspell in Modern. It's a hard counter. You do have to bounce a land, but it's a hard counter. The other one is Wizard's Retort. People kind of use because we do have a ton of wizards. Literally all the creatures except for the lords are wizards. So often you will have a wizard, and Wizard's Retort will be a hard counter spell for 2 blue. However, sometimes you don't have a wizard. It's a non-zero amount of time that you just don't have a wizard, and then Wizard's Retort just becomes pretty clunky. So Deprive will always be live. Bouncing a land does suck, but it's not quite as massive of a tempo loss as it would be in other decks. Because we play Ether Vial, we can still play creatures out, even going down to 1 land or whatever. We can still play all our 2-drops through Ether Vial. It also has kind of niche corner case uses where, again, now with Benthic Biomancer, if we're flooded out on lands, bouncing a land back to hand that we can then loot away with Ben is great. Additionally, Sometimes it comes up where your Mutavault is in combat and you can counter something and bounce your Mutavault back to save it if it's going to get removed, etc. So I think Deprive is the right choice in terms of a counterspell. The other flex spot that I'm choosing to run Vapor Snag as a 2 of. It's, again, instant speed interaction, and it helps take care of creatures. Mono Blue has a very hard time dealing with creatures. We don't have any real removal, so bouncing is about the best we can do. Harbinger is good for that. Vapor Snag is good for that. The thing about Vapor Snag is it can save our own creatures too. So the tempo loss of having to bounce creatures back to hand is somewhat mitigated by all the enter the battlefield effects that we have. I don't mind bouncing a Silvergill back to hand to save it from removal and then get to replay it and draw another card. Or Harbinger of the Tides, you get to bounce another creature. Merfolk Trickster. So all these enter the battlefield effects, Master Waves. Well, losing Master Waves resets all the elementals anyway, but you get the idea. Vapor Snag is kind of versatile in that way. It's not just for opponents' creatures. So that's kind of my build of the deck currently. Then there's all, the classics. Mutavault, amazing card in our deck. So we get the full 4 of those. Ether Vial, Silvergill is a mainstay. Spreading Seas is a mainstay. Master Waves is a bomb. The 2 Lords. I think, again, I hope most of you are at least vaguely familiar with how Merfolk works, so I'll leave it at that for now. Sideboard-wise, Relic of Progenitus is amazing right now. Pretty much every major deck at the top tier uses the graveyard in some form or another, so this is just always going to be good. Phoenix decks, obviously, they use their graveyard. The Dredge, of course, heavily uses the graveyard. Even things like Blue-White Control uses the graveyard for Snapcaster Mage and Search for Iskanta. Black-Green Rock uses it to pump up their Tarmogoyf. So Relic is just very good. Damping Sphere helps shore up our Tron matchup. Spreading Seas is great against Tron, but we can always use all the help we can get. Damping Sphere also good against Storm, so kind of a dual purpose there. Echoing Truth, kind of a catch-all bounce spell. Amazing against tokens or affinity, things that pump out a lot of this similar creatures. It can bounce Planeswalkers, it can bounce Karn, whatever. Very versatile. Jace, it can bounce whatever. Hercules for the affinity matchups. Tidebinder Mage is also very good in this meta. All the Phoenix decks, Tarmogoyf, etc. There's a lot of good red and green creatures that we want to be slowing down. And then a couple Dismembers. Again, blue is terrible with removal, so this is about the best we can do. So we get a couple more of those to help out against the other creature-based decks. And that does it. Going to take this through a friendly, as usual, a friendly Modern League, and see how we do. So I will see you guys in the first match. Thank you for watching.